And we are live. We have some awesome guests in house. We have a very awesome YouTuber, content creator, self-help guru. I liked your videos on self-help. You have great beard advice. It's some book reviews. So welcome, Greg. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this, so I'm happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, right on. Very good. And then, of course, we have my extremely good friend, James. How's it going, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
Can't complain.
So first, before we start off into talking with Greg, what did we have to prepare? I'm going to show you what I have for dessert today. So this is Beards and Desserts, Greg, and I have a bag of Halloween candy again. They just keep coming. And notice what this is. Notice what this is. This is Tootsie Rolls.
All Tootsie Rolls.
All Tootsie Rolls. So good thing I like Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we still have 3 kids living at home, so I'm amazed at how fast they go through it. Still.
I know. I'm surprised too. We had a bunch of Snickers. Somebody told me the other day that, oh yeah, I had a Snickers dinner. A Snickers dinner? What is a Snickers? I had like 25 Snickers. I'm like,
let me tell you something. That sounds like my wife. When I first met my wife, she told me she was a vegetarian, and what that amounted to was that she doesn't eat meat, but mainly her meals consist of Snickers and Mountain Dew. That's kind of how she was.
At least she's going. At least she's going on with things. She at least is being upfront. Right. This is what I eat.
She had a lot of energy.
That's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah, it was a really good thing.
Yeah. So
hey, so by the way, just let you guys know right up front. I can't get onto my computer tonight. There's some technical issues, so I'm not going to be able to see the live stream until maybe I try later on. But for the time being, I can't see anybody in the live stream. So if I'm not acknowledging somebody, it's not because I'm ignoring anybody. Just so you know.
Wow. Well, if we see any questions or whatever, we'll chime in and we'll ask them for you. So
for sure.
Cool.
For sure. So I first found you, Greg, maybe 5 or 6 months ago. And okay. I saw that it was like more of like, I was like, hey, kind of a guy that's more up my alley. So I'm the bearded practitioner because I practice Buddhism. I practice a lot of Eastern philosophy, really into that whole spiritual thing, but also the self-development, self-help realm is exactly where I'm at. And so I saw a lot of your review or a lot of your videos were in regards to how a man specifically, but also, maybe self-help for other people, but specifically men, on how we can become better at being men. And I've always appreciated somebody who had that foresight to be able to provide that information to so many people. What is it that, with your channel, what is it your goal that you're trying to achieve?
Well, I think first and foremost is what I'm trying to do with this channel is, that's kind of a multifold purpose. I want to, and I have to remember this all the time, especially when I'm paying attention to numbers, and it can be kind of discouraging. You probably are well acquainted with that, as many people are. My main purpose is to remain true to myself and play to my strong points. I grew up in a home where it was a very I wouldn't call it religious. I don't like to think of Christianity as being religion. But I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were very good at using stories to illustrate a point, and they always stuck with me. And so I've carried that with me all my life. My kids have liked that. I've mentioned before in some other videos, well, quite a few videos actually, that my primary reason for doing this was to leave a legacy for my children, for my grandchildren, so that not only would they have a path to follow and to have their questions answered as they go along the way, but also that they would know me better, because here's the thing, when I was growing up, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this or not, because I'm probably just older than you guys enough to maybe there is a difference. I don't know. You can tell me. But when I was growing up, we had heroes. We as boys we wanted to be like certain men. Like for instance, when I was growing up, I had an uncle that I wanted to be like. I also wanted to be like Charles Atlas, the guy in the back of the comic books, and he teaches you how to be a man. I wanted to be like James West of the Wild Wild West. I wanted to be like Jack Dempsey, the boxer. But you read about these men, you see things on TV, and they become heroes, and you want to be like them. One thing I've noticed lacking these days among young people is that you never hear them talk about wanting to be like somebody. Now, I'm not trying to fulfill that role, but my point here is that when you have heroes and you have people you look up to, they give you direction because you emulate them, and you ask yourself, what would they do if they were me? And so I've noticed that even with my kids, because they're so involved with video games, YouTube, things like that, and you just never hear them talk about heroes, people that they want to emulate. It just doesn't have. And so and children today are given a pedestal to which they are almost on the same level as adults, and I don't think that's necessarily right. I do think they have to be nurtured. I do think they have to be respected, but you just don't hear that. So what I want to do in terms of leaving a legacy for my kids and my grandchildren is say, look, I'm not necessarily a hero, but you can kind of take, you can follow my lead. You can follow my lead, and a secondary purpose here is I look at my YouTube channel as a ministry. And even though I do beard related videos, that's not where the core of my heart is at. I really want to be an encourager. I want to be someone that can help edify someone else's life. And the word edify means to build up. That's where we get the word edifice. And so I wanted to edify other people's lives by not living a perfect life, but by saying, hey, look, along the path of life that I've taken, I've learned a few things. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've learned a lot along the way. And so if I can use stories to illustrate, because these things aren't always about me. I'm not just getting on YouTube and talking about myself. And there's some things are, but in some cases, I'll get on here and I'll tell stories to illustrate a point. And that's why fables resonate with people, because they stick in your mind. So that's the purpose for my YouTube channel. In the meantime, look, having a beard is nice because people perceive you differently, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they think of you as being wiser, probably wiser than what you are, especially in my case. But they perceive you as being wiser, and especially younger men tend to look up to men as they get to be older if they have a beard. So it's just different. I'm not saying that it's necessarily accurate, but it is different, and it gives you some somewhat of a surface credibility. So I think that I just want to get to the end of my life and know that I've done everything I can within my power to utilize everything that God gave me to enhance not only my life but other people's lives too. I know that was a mouthful, but
no, that's a great response.
Yeah, I do feel kids are on a adult level as well. With all like technology and stuff like that, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Kids don't, especially now with going on with like COVID and stuff. It sucks like to have no interactions with kids. So you kind of have to live like an adult life with technology, games, phones, whatever is out there. When as kids, like when I grew up, you know what I'm saying, going out and being creative with your other friends and riding bikes or doing whatever, doing kid stuff, you know what I'm saying? And kids don't do that nowadays sometimes because of all what's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of sad too because that was one of the joys of life for me, was having men to look up to and want to be like. Because I can recall so many times in my life that I was actually trying to imitate certain individuals that I saw as having an advantage, some strength and some authority, and it really helped me get through life,
Right.
and through the really tough spots. And we all have them. We all have those rough patches, and sometimes having someone in mind that you can emulate can do that. And ultimately, for me, Jesus Christ is the one that is I think to be emulated. In fact, as a Christ follower, we're told to be like Christ. It's a tall order to fill. At least he tells us how to do it. And so, you know, like I said, I don't see myself as a hero, and I think it's too late to even ask for that, especially for my kids, right? so you know, but you know, we as men, we as adults, we have a tremendously great platform to work with here, don't we? I mean, the fact that we can get onto YouTube and almost say anything we want, almost. But we have a lot to play with, and this is a great time to live. I'm going to guess that probably in the past, you know, decades past, there are probably a lot of men who wanted to be an influence, who wanted to reach out, who wanted to be of use, but they didn't know how. And now anyone can do it. Anyone can sign up. Anyone can start their own YouTube channel. They might flag, they might thrive, but they can do something. They can find out what they're all about.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that's a really big benefit. And I think I am right with you, Greg. That's the reason why I use this platform. I was raised Christian, and so I've definitely dived into some different spirituality as of recent, but I was raised Christian, and I believe that you know, spirituality is definitely a very personal thing. Just like you're saying, religion is very different. Spirituality, I think, is more individualistic. The interesting thing is that I find that my core beliefs, which is what we're talking about, I try to share, and that was what I was raised with growing up. You know, my dad kind of imparted some of the how to be a man stuff, you know, how to be a good human being, how to be a man though as well.
Right.
And I think that comes from a very good upbringing. And, you know, for you, it was, for me too, it was with Christianity. And that gives you some good core beliefs. I think it's also in our culture to also help develop different types of thinking men. And I think currently what I see is the biggest thing is that for me, what I try to emulate and what I try to show my kids, that it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to have emotional intelligence. It's okay to be who you are. Right. And it's very okay to be a feeling person, a man of feeling, a man that has understanding of their feelings and is able to talk about them openly and not kind of hide them in. And I think we have a culture that we need to help trying to change. And I think that's these platforms are I think that's what these platforms are for me, at least. And I think for you too, is that ability to be able to come out and say, hey, family, this is the legacy that I'm leaving you, is here's what I think we can do to change our culture. And I'm going to use my platform to help change that.
Absolutely. You know, you make a really good point when you're talking about it's okay to be emotional. I think that that comes with a tremendous responsibility because, man, our world beats up. It beats up on men that want to express themselves in any kind of emotion, in an emotional way. And a lot of times there's other men doing it, you know. And here's the kicker: men typically are not as good at expressing emotions as women are, because it's accepted. And it's good. It's good that women can be that way, but it's accepted with them. Men are taught in so many ways it's not good. Don't let yourself be seen crying, or honestly, a lot of that is good. Likewise, there needs to be strength. So men need to be taught how to be emotional and how to be emotional correctly, because first of all, you may not be as well as accepted as you might think, and second of all, you have to learn to manage it because I've noticed that one of the problems, and I'm speaking from experience, I'm talking about myself here. It's not something I'm proud of. When for so many years growing up, I tucked pain away, and I became stoic in an ultra way, to where people thought something was wrong with me. Like, why you always look like you're going to a funeral, but I was just a blank canvas. I refused to show emotion for a lot of things. What happened was, though, when I started to show emotion, when I thought that it was okay, I started to leak like a sieve, and then I was too emotional, and it came out in looking like sorrow, like rage, and like, to me, the things in that exudes weakness, and then you lose yourself. So there has to be a really good balance there, and but I think you're right. I think we have to get to a place where men can be emotional, but they also need to be taught how to rein that in and control it. And I've had to learn that. I've made a lot of mistakes doing that. So
it's almost like guys think you're less of a man, or what I'm saying, you cry, oh my god, you're crying, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, but you can cry. I've seen people that are like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm crying, or whatever, and it's like, cry, let it out, what I'm saying. Yep. Don't keep it inside, it's gonna make it worse. If you let it out,
right,
cry,
exactly,
let it out, what I'm saying. It makes you feel better, even though it's making you, you're sad, it makes you feel better to get all that out, because it's just just needs to come out. And if you leave it in, it's just going to be, maybe pose more of a problem, or just something that just makes you blow up even more somewhere else along the line if you don't let that out.
Yeah, and it really depends on the individual's personality too, how that plays itself out.
Right.
And and oftentimes it's so misunderstood when it happens. Yeah. So and it can be devastating, because what happens is it makes you wonder, when you see that you're either ridiculed, mocked, or discouraged from doing that, then you kind of go back in your shell, going back to being stoic again. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase that. Being stoic is a good thing. Stoic philosophy is good. What I'm trying to convey here is when you become too hard. When you become too hard, and you're not letting anything through, and that's not a good thing. So I hope I didn't make anybody misunderstand me there.
No, but that's what I mean by, so the emotional intelligence. That's kind of that, when to know how. We have to be able to see our emotions, see it rise, and understand it. That's the one part that I know that I love my dad, but he did not. I did not feel that he knew how to display his emotions in a way that was effective. Usually it comes out in one or two ways. Comes out as, to my dad, he did cry at moments, but it was always kind of weird. Or it comes out a lot of times as anger. And that's because of non-understanding of our emotions. So we get angry about that feeling because we don't like that sense of out of controlness that we have. And so reining it in, and sometimes we do kind of suck it in too. I guess that could be we kind of, where I'm going to be a pillar, I'm not going to deal. But it also comes out really hardly as anger, which is, in my opinion, anger is always like the adult temper tantrum. And it really is. It's I didn't get what I wanted, so now I gotta. This is what happens. But I think you're actually onto something when you're talking about the fact that as males, especially as we get older, that's what the beard kind of imparts, is that there is wisdom inside of us that we can share with others. And I think that you're absolutely right. I think that it is our job as the holders of wisdom to be able to impart it in a way that's going to be effective and also something that's going to be productive. Because you can't change, the one thing that I realize is you can't change the culture overnight. So you have to come up with steps on being able to get to that point. So talking about that, how do we get to that point? The path to that point. And I think that when you're reviewing some of these books and some of the things that you say in some of your videos are right on the money. Right on the money.
Thank you. Yeah, I obviously I have very settled beliefs, but I try not to be preachy about them because I don't assume that everyone's going to take my side or even begin to understand that. I talk about biblical principles without quoting scripture. There was years ago that I did that quite a bit, and I've learned from that. But that's not how you get people on your side. You simply live the way you should. Make people curious about who you are and why you do what you do, why you think the way you think, why you say the things you say, and that's how you gain true followers or disciples. Not that I'm not looking for that. That's not what I want to imply here. But in a sense, I mean, it's kind of the circle, part of the circle of life. I mean, we're supposed to understand that we are influencers, even outside of YouTube. We're influencers. Somebody's looking at you,
right?
And usually it's your kids, but it could be. I've said it before in a video. You'd be surprised if you're somebody who has nice posture, which is something I really believe in. I think a man should stand up straight, with his shoulders back, and try to stand like he have an appearance he's proud of himself, but not proud in the wrong way, but that he needs to have an appearance of strength. And you could be walking from your car in a grocery store parking lot to the inside of the grocery store, and somebody might see that and I'm kind of impressed with that individual. I say that because I see men and women both that I go, I like the way that person carries themselves, and it does influence you. It makes you stop and think, maybe I need to stand up a little bit straighter. But that happens on all. I keep spitting. That happens on all levels. That happens in no matter what we're talking about. That could be the way you speak. It could be the way you make your points. It could just be the way you do anything. The way you drive. Somebody's watching, and that's what we need to understand. Is there's a massive responsibility, and it really chaps my hide when I hear celebrities, or that they be athletes or actors, whoever, say, I don't consider myself a role model. Well, you are, whether you want to admit it, whether you want to confront that or not, you are. So, but it's a God-given responsibility, and sometimes people are following the wrong role models. It happens all the time.
It's interesting that you say that, because I've had that discussion so many times. What do you think of that, James? James, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What do you think about it? What do you think about some of the role models that we select that are celebrities? Like, I think about that statement from Charles Barkley, where I'm not a role model.
Right.
Don't follow me, as he gets his, fourth or fifth DUI in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, some celebrities are, role models, but like some people pick just the wrong celebrities to pick as role models. You know what I'm saying? Role models, I think, should be something close to you, for this family, or somebody that's, you can strive to be somebody that's, rich or famous or whatever they want, but nobody that has, like, it's gonna be like in a bad. Oh, I froze. But nobody that's just in like a wrong kind of scene. You know what I'm saying? It's just, jail or drugs or stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think it's interesting
That's
what you're
crazy.
saying is that do you think that I think that sometimes we look at celebrities because we see them and we think, but they do definitely try to be role models too. Think about how they try to push
Oh, yeah.
political agendas
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
Political
Yeah,
agendas.
like
A
some
perfect
can
example.
be role models. I mean, but there's some out there that they're just a wrong role models
Yeah.
for people. You know what I'm saying?
But you
say
are a
Charles
role
Barkley,
model.
you know what
They
I'm
should
saying?
embrace that,
Yeah.
right? But they should embrace it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, realize that it's the Spider-Man thing, right? It's the with
Yeah.
great power becomes great responsibility.
Yes. Yeah, that's such a true statement. And I love the fact that it came from Stan Lee. Well, I mean, who knows?
I know.
Maybe he wasn't the first one to say it. I don't know. That's good.
True.
It's good nevertheless.
I love it. I love it. I've
Yeah.
always loved that one because it's so everybody can understand, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, if we won't listen to anybody else, we'll listen to Spider-Man.
That's right. If you're going to
Yeah.
listen to anybody, listen to a comic book or a movie or Stan Lee. Stan Lee, what a great guy.
Yeah.
Interesting guy.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I know. I have immense respect for him,
Yeah.
even though
for
he's
sure.
gone now. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always good, bittersweet to know that he made such a big impact on so many.
Right.
So
yeah, he certainly did. You
He
talk about
did.
somebody who came. You talk about somebody. I mean, what a background, what a life. His story is amazing.
yeah, what part of the story do you like the most?
I just love. I love the fact. I love looking at. I love tracking people's lives that grew up in the era before quick information as we know it now. Like anywhere from the turn of the century to like the 1990s. These people had to. They really pulled themselves up by the bootstraps, and you see people like Stan Lee that did that, and they and you're talking about Stan Lee's stories, right? Stan Lee's story, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, they literally pull themselves up by the bootstrap, and they do what they or like they stay true to themselves, and they keep their nose to the grindstone, and I love stuff like that. And of course, I'm not well versed in his entire life or anything, but
Right.
I've seen documentaries on TV about him, and those things just thoroughly impress me.
Yeah, it's integrity. There's a certain amount of integrity that came from that time period, especially like I'm next weekend or this next coming weekend, so like 2 days, or next week, one of these 2 days, like either this Saturday or the Saturday after. I am going down to go visit my 94-year-old grand. We're going to make sure we have COVID tests and things, but we're going to go see my 94-year-old granddad, who was a World War II veteran. And he right now he's at that space where he's just like very introspective, but also just wants to be, just kind of in that space now where he's just happy. Hey, I just want to watch my shows. But he always was somebody that I looked up to because he was a good person. Like, I think the word that my parents, and this is coming from his ex, my dad, salt of the earth was something that was always mentioned about him. And I think we all have maybe grandparents or a grandparent that we could say salt of the earth, somebody that is just genuinely good. And sometimes it comes from that era where you just work hard, keep your keep it to the grindstone, and just do the best you can as a human being and make sure you impart that as much as possible.
When you talk to him, you really have to pay attention because he's one of the last remaining people of the greatest generation, as they're coined. These World War II veterans have the most wonderful stories to tell, and they still get emotional about them. I've talked to a few men in their 90s who fought in World War II, and I talked to one man who was just a little kid when World War I ended. But they have the greatest stories, so you really have to listen and remember and retell these stories, because otherwise they're going to get lost and they're going to be left up to the writers of our generation, and who knows if they get them right. They're not talking to everybody. So you have to retell their stories because they have a lot to say, you know. And you're right. You're talking about salt of the earth people. And that's why, I was talking to my 14-year-old son the other day about Charles Atlas because growing up, I looked up to him, and he comes from that generation himself. I said, you know what I like about this guy is that his story, not only is his story good, not only did he make something of himself from nothing, but he remained a good person, a morally good person. And that's so rare, you know. So yeah, you just gotta make fast friends of people like that, especially from that generation because they're fast fading.
They are fast fading. Now, James, what is? Do you still have some of your grandparents from that time frame?
I don't. I think all of my grandparents are passed. Yeah, my grandfather, my grandfather on my dad's side passed away when I was probably like 8, I think. Yeah. So, and then my mom's dad passed away probably a couple years after that, I think. And then I think the more recent one was my grandmother on my dad's side, but she passed away like 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, most of all my grandparents are passed.
Yeah, it's kind of coming. He's 94, so definitely most of us, unless you're, and some people have 100-year-old grandparents, but I do love his stories, and this is the one thing that he taught me about fishing. I always go with this. Fishing was never about just fishing. It was about imparting knowledge. It was imparting patience. And to my granddad, it was about eating sandwiches. So we would go out, we would get our boat ready, we would go out to a place south of Tucson, Arizona, and we would just sit on the lake and enjoy talking about fishing. We never caught anything. But we had some nice cold drinks, some sodas, some water, good sandwiches that grandma made, and discussions about him working on the railroads in Douglas, Arizona, and him, how he met my grandma, and raising kids, and things those are the things that I was so happy to have that in my life. So it's such a great ability to have those as times with your grandparent. And I had the same with my dad's dad. We had amazing places that we went to, and he would just impart knowledge that his kids didn't want to listen to because they had, they were his kids. But his grandkids,
my kids are not interested in all of my stories.
What's funny is that have you ever been told, I've already heard that story? You've already said that story, Dad.
By my kids?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I have. No, I don't think my kids have ever said that to me because I don't know. I have to tell the stories on video now because they're not listening right now. That's for sure.
That's cool though. On Veterans Day, because my grandfather served as in the Navy, so on Veterans Day I posted something regarding that. What was cool though is I found a bunch of. I think I've already had it. I think I've gone through it before, but I pulled out some stuff I found of his. One of my aunts gave me his watch that him and my grandmother, I guess, my grandmother got him for his anniversary. I guess I don't know what. I think it was like 25th, or it was. I'm not sure what year it was, but I have a watch of his that I keep in my dresser as like a little moment. Sometimes I'll wear it, But finding like a little kind of like a report. I think he did like a report on like Italian music, and like he typed it. I think when he was like 20. You know what I'm saying? So reading stuff like that, and reading stuff when he was like 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? He was filling out like some kind of form for some kind of entry exam or something like that. But it was just cool to read because reading stuff about him, because I was really young when he passed away, so I never really knew anything about him. So I mean, hearing stuff here and there. So reading the stuff like that I read, just a little bit about him is just really cool. Even like some of like the yearbooks I had. Yeah, I have a couple of his yearbooks, and they're just really awesome to look through because they're all like prim and probably they're all wearing suits. I mean, they're all like hair slick back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like hair done to the nine. You know what I'm saying? It's just really to what it was then. What it is now is just totally different. I think it was like 1945 or something like that.
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, I was just talking about that. To with I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were discussing this very same thing about how, you know, I love old movies. You know, I go back as far as you can. I love those old movies. And the men and the women they were all so spiffy. You know, like I was watching an old movie with Anne Bancroft in it. You know, she was the one who played Miss Robinson in The Bachelor. Was it The Bachelor? What was that called?
The Graduate. The Graduate. Yeah.
But this is a black and white movie, and she was hot, man. She was hot. And you go back to any of those old 30s and 40s movies. I watched a movie with Betty Davis in it from the early 1930s. Yeah. She was hot. The way these women did their hair, their dresses, and everything.
Yeah.
And they took pride in how they looked. And even the men, they wore these nice suits, the hats, and the clean, you know, not a lot of beards, but they did have, you know, these clean haircuts and everything. It was just a different time. I'm not saying that it's bad that went away. I mean, you need some individuality because it was almost uniform, you know. If you see old pictures of large crowds gathering in Times Square from the 1940s or presidential inaugurations, and it's a lot of men, and it's just a sea of hats, a sea of fedoras, and you know, and so it's kind of cool, but at the same time, you know, if everyone's doing it, it's not unique. It's not, you know, I'm glad it changed, but I think it's pretty neat, especially where the women are concerned. Man, I watch those old movies and think, man, tell you what, they were something else. Those women from those old movies.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I thought it was funny, like, because looking through the yearbook, they still did the signing in the yearbook, and so inside the yearbook, I would flip back and forth, and almost every other word was like swell. So I'm not like, if I was really have a swell day or have a swell summer or something like that, you know. So I was like swell.
Right.
Because there was power in words. Yeah. That's the one thing that really was something. If you look at some of the old letters from World War II from a wife to, or a girlfriend to even a husband, a man to his girlfriend or wife. Right. There was such power in words and almost poetry that they wrote about, and such depth of feeling that they would portray in these letters. And you read them, and it was like everybody was writing that way. Like, we've lost the art of pen.
Like cursive and stuff. They don't really teach that anymore.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think also the way we talk.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I like learning new words all the time and kind of inserting them into my conversation, not in a conspicuous way, but just kind of in a natural way. And some people wonder, well, why do you do that? It's like, well, because I get bored of using the same terminology all the time, you know, and I get tired of hearing the same kind of vernacular, you know, just people just saying the same things, describe the same things all the time. It just becomes dull to the ear, and you find yourself not listening. And I find out when you change the way you talk, like you're talking about, and you make it just a little bit more flowery, just a little bit. That almost sounds feminine, but that's not what I mean. But you just change it. You just add a flavor a little bit, and people notice. You know what happens? They start listening. They start listening to what you're saying. But you know, a good example of speech or the written word from the bygone era is if you've never read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, you need to do that. Man, that guy could write. That guy could write, man. I was going through my memories on Facebook today, and I pulled out a quote, something that one of the characters had said to another, and I'm like, man, people just don't write like that anymore. People don't even talk like that anymore. But it's great. I love it. I wish they still did. You know, it would change the dynamics, I think, in the search for you know, romantic partners. But
I loved it, though. I mean, that's what made it so romantic, was the fact that there was real courtship type of thing that was going on. It was a lot by words as well, an expression of deep feeling through the written word, you know, just letters sent to your love, that, you know, something that
Yeah.
is definitely not seen today as much. Maybe somebody might quote, maybe at a wedding you might get a quote of Poison or something. I think they just quoted "Every rose has its thorn" in the middle of their, that's their poetry. Not that it's bad, but it's just I've seen that. It's just interesting that was it's not pushed as much, and I think that it's important that we should maybe even go back to those roots and be able to display our feelings in a different way. And I think word is definitely a good way of doing it.
Well, I think that's what it takes. I think that if people want to see things, and I say this all the time, that I think either people probably won't believe me or think I'm just in some kind of echo chamber. But the one thing that would take care of that, one thing that would solve that problem, is if people read more, if they would read more books. And fiction in particular. I didn't used to read fiction a whole lot. I'm an avid reader, but I didn't used to read fiction a whole lot. But in the past, in the recent years, I read a lot more, and it's very valuable because of the interaction and relationships and the way people talk. And if you read enough of that, you learn how to do it. Not maybe to the degree you see in the books, but you do broaden your scope of being able to communicate. And I think it's certainly a good way of doing it. It's probably what they did. If you think about it, I mean, TV way back when still wasn't a big thing. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have all these other things, so people read a lot. I think that there was a higher conversational intelligence back then because of that very reason. That's just a theory, though. It's just my opinion, and it doesn't mean I'm right.
No, I think you're onto something there. I think that that's part of the instant gratification culture that we have right now, is that everything is easily grasped, and we think that we take, like Wikipedia. My parent, anybody can write for Wikipedia. Anybody. Not that it isn't good content. Sometimes there are content writers that are able to portray their, what's really going on there. However, it's also opinion. So it's just interesting.
I know. Yeah.
And that we're basing our facts on these opinions of some person that may have gotten some facts. They do put resources on there, thank goodness, but sometimes they don't. And sometimes they're not even good resources. Like I read a newspaper article once that said his name in it. And thus I'm going to use this, and I know everything about him now. But I think you're absolutely right. And it's interesting coming from my grandma wanted to be the next American writer. So she went to American, ended up becoming a lawyer. But she wanted to be the next American great. And she was always constantly working on the book. That was what was labeled the book, the book that was going to put her into that category. And she was very well read. And she used the words that you would use. I mean, she was definitely a lawyer and could use words that would, I remember growing up that and as a grandchild just going to their house, and they had an open encyclopedia, and they told me, Andy, anytime that you are wanting to find a good word, just go over there. Beautiful encyclopedia, but it always was like in the present, like we use words in this family. And I expect you to have a certain level of verbiage, that's multisyllabic. And it was interesting because, that's what we were expected to, I think it was something that she pushed to us as well, become educated. And it doesn't mean formal education, not necessarily. I mean, even though they did have doctorate degrees and double masters and things like that, but they definitely pushed that part. But at the same time, well read, being able to. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I heard you were talking about her becoming an attorney and being so well read. I'd heard an attorney, a very well-renowned attorney, speak from a church pulpit one time. His name is David Gibbs, and you talk about someone who's extremely well read. He made a point that I've never forgotten. He said that the greatest power that you can have. I'm not quoting him verbatim, but the greatest power you could possibly have is the power to define, because that's really what the law is all about. Is, you know, the best, that the attorney who has the ability to define in the most articulate way is going to be the one that comes out on top, or should be able to, at least. And
Right.
so many people think they have authority, but they don't. And I think that if you understand language, if you try to become better at it, and educate yourself, and trying to expand your vocabulary and understand where these words came from and really what they mean, you can pick particular words for certain occasions that mean so much more than some generic words you would have used otherwise. And it gives you the power to define, at least in some way. And I think that's why people who are good with words are such good influencers.
True. True. So what do you think,
I hope
James?
I'm making sense.
No, you totally make sense. I'm following you completely. I totally get what you're saying. Oh, and James,
it cut off for a second. It was getting scrambly, and then it just cut off. Like, I'm like, what the heck is going on? I have no idea. It's worked every other week. But like now, I'm like scrambling words, and I'm like, what is going on? Like,
I've had that happen. I had that happen for about a month, and then now I've actually decided to start trying to plug in my LAN cable.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's still not perfect. But I will tell you this, that the one thing that I also noticed on your channel is that you were able to intermingle your beard care tips and tricks. And I love that as well. That's kind of also a thing that, you know, I don't know, we're considered beard content reviewers, product reviewers. I try to throw in some of the same type of self-help stuff as well. But most of the time on the channel, that's what we're talking about, is beard products and beard grooming and anything beard related. So to our viewers that are, you know, definitely interested in always looking at that stuff, what is it that kind of got you to grow a beard? And then what products are you, and what kind of tips did you gain and where did you gain them from? It's a lot of questions.
Well, you know, well, no, it's okay. If I forget one, just remind me. Why did I grow a beard? Well, man, I think because, well, I've been shaving my head for probably 15, 16 years. And I just had a clean shaven face and shaven head. Then I grew a goatee. I thought, well, I'll try that. You know, I had a goatee for years. And those are easy enough to take on, put back on, take on, put back on. And the one thing I'd never tried was a beard ever. I'd never tried one of those. I mean, when I was really young, I had a mustache, and then I had a goatee, but I never tried a beard. I thought, I'll never do that. I don't like beards. Just, you know, I didn't even know hardly anybody even had them, except for guys that lived in Minnesota. And right, so I don't know. I just, you know what it was? I think what it was is that my oldest brother, he has, and he still has a beard, but he grows a magnificent beard, and as of lately, it's ever more white, and he only trims it like twice a year, and it's just a magnificent beard. And I thought, you know, I wonder what I would look like with a beard, because we look enough alike, and the resemblance is uncanny. But so I grew a beard, not really know anything about it, and I kind of came across George Bruno one day, and then I started, and that was in his early days. That was when he first started. He was doing nothing but beard stuff, and I really liked the guy, and he just had the best tips. I started following his advice, and doing what he was doing. What was the other part of your question?
What beard products are you kind of, that's your thing? That's what you like? Are you a beard oil, beard butter, beard balm? What kind of products are you using and that you love?
Well, I used to be strictly beard oil and beard balm. I always use beard oil, but I typically use beard butter more now than I use beard butter more than I use balm now, because I like the softness of it, and especially as my beard gets to be longer. I used to be very fixated on how coiffed my beard was. You know, I used to be really concerned about that when I first had a big beard, and it just got to be too much. I ended up shaving it off because it was just too much to manage, and big mistake. That's because I was trying too hard. But now I don't really care if it's straight or not. Some days I'll go straight, sometimes I'll go just natural, let it flip up all over the place, and I like it either way now. So, having beard butter is a great way to. It does add a little bit of weight to the beard, and it just makes it look softer, feel better. And balm, the only time I ever use balm now too much anymore is if I really need it to, if I really want to mold it and shape it, and even then, I just don't use it as much anymore. And today I'm using I'm wearing Live Bearded, their American line.
Oh, I love American. That smoky. Yep, I love it.
So, well, I've been trying to make a video. I've been trying to make a video the last couple days on how to do a really quick, short blow dry style, and I want to integrate their American beard line into that video instead of doing just a review. But the last couple of days, I haven't been able to pull it off. The whole thing's been falling apart on me as I'm making it. So I just put a kibosh on the whole thing. But yeah, I find myself using beard butter. I love beard butter, and Fresh Beards is really good. If you've never tried Fresh Beards beard butter, man, they are amazing.
I've heard that. I've heard that. What if you should? Have you tried them, James? He's frozen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm cut off. I'm sorry. Repeat it.
Fresh Beards. Have you tried Fresh Beards?
I haven't.
No, I haven't. I've heard of them, and you know who really I think likes them is Joe Barbadoe Joe. But so do you.
Yeah.
So their butter is like is my thing now. I love a good butter. I thought that Live Bearded's original spongy butter was like the best, one of the best out there. I haven't tried their new formula, so you're saying it's still pretty good.
Original.
You haven't tried the original?
No, I didn't get any of their stuff in the early days, but even their oil is really good. I mean, Fresh Beards, honestly, man, I'm not an affiliate theirs because they don't have an affiliate program. Man, I wish they had one because I would promote them a lot more. Their oil and their butter is so fine. It's just one of my favorites. I really like their dark roast coffee scented oil and butter, but it's really strong. And you got to be careful how much you use because it's really strong. And my wife hates it, but I love it.
Isn't that the funny thing, James? Do you run into that where you're like, I love this smell, I can't wait to tote it around, and you're like walking around your house feeling like you got this place, and then your wife goes, "That's horrible. Smells like." I think one time she told me it smells like burnt electrical equipment.
The first one I wore that she hated, it was a Luxurious Bastard butter, and it was like the original, like the Lux butter, like the original, like first butter he came out with, I guess. And she's like, "Oh, it smells good," like in the can. So when I wore it that night to bed, she goes, "Oh my God, what are you wearing?" I said, "You said you liked this earlier." And I'm like, she does not like maple, and for some reason it reeked of maple, and so she's like, "You gotta wash that out of your beard. You can't go to bed wearing that." It's just so anything with maple I can't get. If I do get it, I can't wear it around her.
Oh, that's
I have to, which it does suck. But yeah, she does not like maple.
Isn't that funny?
What's your wife's like no-go scent, Greg?
That would be it. The dark roast coffee.
The dark roast coffee.
Nothing's happening if I wear that, but I wear it anyway. I mean, there's days I'm like, I'm wearing this anyway. I love it, but that's it. Yeah, her favorite one on me is the executive line from Live Bearded, but it's crazy. I mean, and every man listening to this can relate to this, I'm sure. But our wives don't mind telling us they don't like it, do they? But God forbid, if they were to wear something that you didn't like and you said, I really don't like that. I don't like the way it smells. Oh man, that would not go down.
It wouldn't.
No. And they always say, be honest. Be honest with me. Tell me what you really think. Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
We know in the real world that never that's like the bait. That's like, yeah, go ahead and say it.
Right.
I'll never
hear
speak
you.
to you again. But yeah, you speak your wisdom and truth to me. And guess what? You're gonna be sleeping. You're gonna be sleeping on the couch, buddy.
It's amazing. Yourself. They can be brutal, but man, you can't do that. You can't do that back to them. That's for sure.
Does your wife Andy not like a scent?
You know, there's a couple. Barbu has his one of his nighttime butters that's called like Bushman or something like that. Yeah. And it does smell like it smells like fern. It smells like it has all sorts of wonderful smells, I think. And it puts me right to sleep every night. It is a really good like sleepy time butter. And
I want to try his stuff.
Barbu, he's down in Miami too. Yeah. So he's down in Florida. Okay. So Barbu they're stronger scents, but he has a good line of really good strong scents, and they're complex and they change on you. Like he has the blacksmith, for instance, and it smells like, like first you're like, oh, this smells like black licorice. But you put it in beer, it transforms into steel. You're just like, whoa, that is just amazing. How did that turn into that? And then he has some other ones.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. And then he has, I think that she's also not a big Nog Champa fan. So anything like Nog Champa-ish, and I have several because I like that smell. Yeah, that's a no-go. What is that smell? Get it out of your beard. Get it out of my area.
Yeah, no, she likes Nag Champa. I can tell you that one. She's like, I just got like an incense from somebody. She loves the smell of that.
Most women seem to, except for my wife.
Yeah. I would say another scent. I've never come across like a scent though. She says she doesn't like pine. So anything that smells like a Christmas tree, I can't get around her either. I don't like pine.
I was wondering about that because I got Snowblind from Han Yockers. I just bought it, the Han Yockers Snowblind, which is the Christmas scent, which is some of these are like Christmas trees in a bottle. Yeah. And so I don't know how my wife's going to feel like about that.
Yeah. One of my wife's favorite ones that I wear is Mad Viking Company's Fjord beard line. She's crazy about that stuff. So if you haven't tried that, you should.
Mad Viking, is that the one that it's an Amazon? Is that a Amazon company?
No, that's actually one of the first companies I tried too. Besides Wild Willie's, I got like 6 cents of their samplers or whatever. I think I still have some of them, but yeah, they're actually pretty good.
Oh, cool! I'll have to go check them out. I actually have heard of them. Who's the other one that sells on Amazon? Something Viking, Bad Viking.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
The Viking Revolution, I think, is another one.
Viking Revolution, that's the one I was thinking of. That's the one that was like, hey, this is the one that I buy. I have one of those guys from work that was like, this is the stuff to buy, Andy. And it was like Grandpa's pine tar soap.
I've heard of it. I've heard that people say good things about it.
It's good, but your wife isn't going to be around you on that one. And it's definitely
is that right?
Oh, it's a pine tar smell. It's so woodsy that you're like, I'm out in the woods with the smoke going, and I'm part of it. I'm part of the coal.
well, artist makes a. Huh?
No, go ahead.
Well, Artist Man makes a campfire one, and that's about the only one that I don't like that much because it smells good, but it's just too strong. I mean, it smells legitimately like a campfire, but it's just a little too strong. You know?
Yeah, I've had some really strong smoky campfires. I really like smoking, like not smoking, but smoking meats, and I love that pecan. Something intoxicating, but you can go overkill. there's a company, Savage Maine, that does a excellent, like, you're right on the smoker, like, oh, just amazing smell. And he uses like almost like liquid smoke in his beard products, which I don't know you're supposed to put that on your beard, but at the time I don't know, but it does smell like that.
I think the one thing that would turn my wife into a maniac in all the right ways is if they made one that smelled like smoky barbecue. Yeah, she'd be all about that.
Yeah. Anointed AK might have. What do you think? If any company that I know, it'd be Anointed AK would have something, because they're like the food scent place. I wonder if they have anything. They have like the food scents.
I've never even heard of them.
Yeah, they have a whole food selection, like Oreos and Fruit Loops and
like a banana split or something like that.
So they may have something like that. That's funny. Because that would be. I can imagine that. You just put barbecue sauce in your beard.
Don't think I haven't thought of that. Don't think I haven't thought of it. I mean, I've thought about just lathering myself up my entire body with barbecue sauce before. I don't want to have to wash the sheets.
Oh, that's right. There's the problem. There lies in the problem, because the person that is going to be washing the sheets would be you.
You're right.
Yeah.
Boy, that really. Listen. This is opening up Pandora's box right here. Even that didn't sound right. Didn't sound right.
I agree with you.
So I have a question for you guys. Yeah. I was listening to your show where you had the guy from Honyaker on.
Oh, Adam. Yep.
Yeah. Now, did both of you grow up in Indiana, or is it just one of you?
I did not, but my granddad did. Over near Vincennes.
Yeah, I'm originally from California.
Oh.
So California to here. So pretty much.
Honyaker did.
So Andy, you got a grandfather that did?
Yeah, he's a Hoosier. He is a total Hoosier, and that's what he would tell himself. So he married, my grandma's from Clearwater, and he said that he was a Hoosier that married that Southern belle.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Indiana. That's the reason I was asking. I thought, I'm gonna have to bring that up when I get on there.
You should. Yeah, we're at in Indiana.
Well, I was born in Indianapolis, but I also lived in Monticello and Peru and Lafayette. That's like north of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Between Indianapolis and Michigan. So
yeah, so my daughter right now lives on the border of Michigan and Indianapolis, and she is just north of South Bend, just like maybe 20 miles north of South Bend, and on the Michigan side, over by Niles, Niles, Michigan, and yeah, and then my granddad grew up in Vincennes, which is over near the Illinois on the south of Evansville. So
that's like southern Indiana.
Yeah, southern Indiana. Yeah, out in the country. You know, his stories will always have something to do with watermelons and farmers. All of his family were. He's an interesting story because all of my family is farmers from that area, and then he was not. He went to Texas A&M. He thought about going into the A&M part, the Aggie part. But he decided not to, became an officer in the military during World War II, and then met my grandma in Clearwater. So she's a Floridian. And she was very well educated, and that's how their whole life is very different than any of the rest of the family. And he has 2 doctorate degrees. She had 2 doctorate degrees, and they were studying in Oxford for journeyman, and it's just interesting how their whole life was very around education, and they're my granddad's from a humble background of a farmer.
Nice.
Yeah, wow. Well, I mean, if he's from Indiana, yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he
I mean,
loved it. I mean, he
that's what
had
I
great
remember.
stories. Great stories.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Now, Andy, where are you from? Because I watched like a handful of your videos, so I don't really know a lot. But where are you from?
So I am originally from Tucson, Arizona, and I now reside in Mesa, Arizona. But my dad
Oh,
is, or my stepdad is was military. So I've lived all around the world. So I lived like in England for
wow.
about 8 years. I've lived in the
Oh,
Midwest. I've
Nice.
lived on the West Coast. But now I've been, I'm now a Zony. I've been here so long that I think past 18, I've been here all my life since then. So I
okay.
lived in Flagstaff for a bit, and then I came down to the valley.
And what do
Now,
you do for work?
I'm IT, so and I'm IT engineer.
Okay.
Yep. Geek.
Yeah, I guess you're the guy. I guess you're kind of always on call, aren't you?
I am on call, which is funny because you just caught me right before the live stream on I have to go tell a manager something in a political way on how he has to deal with our team. So it was, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And you have to word it in a political way to make it, make sure that you convey your ideas in a way that isn't going to get yourself in trouble.
Sure. Well, James, you live in Bradenton, right? Even though you're from California originally, right?
Yeah, I moved to Venice, or near Venice, when I was 12. So, but yeah, I've pretty much been here most of my life, majority of my life.
Okay.
You're in
so
Bradenton?
you're really not that far away from me.
No, yeah, I looked up how far you're near Lakeland. I think it's like an hour away.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, being that you've lived down there that long, how do you feel about the beach? Are you indifferent to it, or do you still embrace it?
It's been a while since I've been to the beach. I still embrace it. I mean, it's like we have times where we go every week or whatever, but we have times where we don't go at all for a while. So it's just like it's kind of balanced, whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, I still enjoy going to the beach and stuff.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with the beach, even though I love Anna Maria Island, which is closer to you than it is to me.
Yeah.
And but I have a love-hate relationship because it's beautiful, but I don't like the crowds.
Yeah.
And I don't like getting eaten when I go into the water. I mean, there's just too many things down there in the water. My wife went on a fishing trip in Anna Maria Island just lately through her workplace, and the guy, the captain of the boat, was telling her, he goes, "Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many shark are out here, even close to shore. Even places like Anna Maria." And yeah, and it's probably scare us if we really knew. So I have this fear. And even though I'm afraid to go in the water, I still do. I still go into the water, up to here. And then I think the thought goes to my mind: if anything happens, I have no chance. I mean, years ago, when I was, this is probably 30 years ago, I was dating a girl. And we went to Indian Rocks Beach. Are you familiar with that?
I haven't heard of it. I've seen it. I mean, I've never been there.
Okay, well, it's just south of, okay. It's just south of Clearwater, and her and I were bobbing along in the water on one of these long inflatable rafts, and we're sitting like this. We're sitting like this in the raft, just bobbing along, and I got bumped twice by a shark, and I was like, never again. I'm not doing that again. No. I'm out. I'm done.
Right. I never had that close of an encounter. I mean, just always fish or whatever, or crabs or whatever. But I've never been near a shark.
Isn't
Dude, it was so creepy, huh?
Isn't Bradenton near Sarasota?
Yeah, I work in Lakewood Ranch.
Okay, so that's where my family's from. Is that area?
Oh,
yeah. That's where my grandma grew up in Clearwater, and then when they retired officially, they were from Tucson. They lived in Tucson a long time. Then they came back down and retired in Sarasota. So when they passed on, they were all in Sarasota and visited there quite often. Yeah, it's good times. I love the beaches. on the Gulf side. Absolutely love the Gulf side beaches. Siesta Key, absolutely. I could
Yeah,
stay
I
over
like,
there. Siesta
I like
Key, and then
I
that
haven't been
place that
there.
has. Have you not been there?
No, I've heard many good things about it.
Yeah, and it's that crystal sand that always is like amazing, because even in the moonlight you're just like, you can see, because it's so white and so nice to walk on. You could just see for miles and just walk for miles. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I love the beach at night. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so. I remember when I was much younger, I would, and when I was single and I wasn't dating anybody, I'd feel kind of depressed about that. I'd take off from Lakeland, go to Clearwater. The beaches were absolutely empty, and I'd walk the beaches all night long, and it was just something so peaceful that just washes over you. And I was good to go after that, you know.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
so James, do you ever go to St. Augustine during Christmas time?
I haven't.
Oh,
I hear they light. I know they light it up. They're really nice though. Yeah.
it's a big thing. It's a big
Yeah.
thing. You need to go there. Yeah, every Floridian needs to visit there
Yeah.
during Christmas time.
I think we've planned it,
Yeah.
but we've never just gotten a chance to go up there.
Yeah, yeah, they have really good bed and breakfast places up there too. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you think so? My impressions of Florida is this: that everybody there is very different, much more laid back. But yet I still think that I had, like, my whole family was from that area, but everybody is so laid back, but so friendly, super friendly. I always enjoyed that about Florida. That's my impressions of them, of Florida, that everybody was just like, couldn't bent over backwards polite.
Well, you apparently haven't been to Polk County then. Maybe over by the beaches they might be that way, and I can understand that because I might be that way if I was over there too. But man, listen, if a really bad crime happens and you see like a sheriff that keeps showing up on the news, it's probably Grady Judd from Polk County. Like,
dude,
all
Grady Judd. I don't know what like that whole town would do without Grady Judd. Like,
he's
every time you
he's
see a news like
amazing.
Grady Judd, I'm like, boy, that dude needs to run
He's
for president.
Yes. Grady Judd, man. And
Bro.
how much more southern of a name could you get than Grady Judd?
Grady Judd. That is just straight up Florida right there.
But he's a bad dude though, man.
Oh my God.
In fact, he used to go to the same church I went to, and so I've got to hear him speak and sit in close proximity to him, and I know people that work for him and everything. But yeah, he's a good guy. But yeah, I mean, laid back. I wouldn't describe where I'm from as being laid back. It's kind of hustle and bustle, but I guess if you got closer over to the coast on either side, it probably is.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I was hanging out with
Florida.
old people. Yeah, I mean, I was hanging out with old retired folks too, right. So that probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I love Florida though, because there's so much to do here. I mean, it's weather as hot as it might be, there's still, I can go, like, especially living in Lakeland. I live between Tampa and Orlando, and I can go in either direction. And within less than an hour, I'm gonna be hitting some nice places, whether it be the resorts, on the coast, or the theme parks on, closer to the center. But yeah, I mean, I've been here since '86. But yeah, I mean, for all the crap I talk about Florida, I do like living here.
Yeah, I mean, because I think about it here. California, I don't think I would ever live again because it's just so expensive. Just cost of living there is just crazy high. And then, I mean, people are like, "Oh, would you rather live in like fires and earthquakes or hurricanes and flooding?" And I'm like, "Bro, probably hurricanes."
Yeah, hurricanes. Definitely.
I mean, like we're at the spot, we don't really get like the really major hurricane areas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're almost like in a safer part. We don't really get a lot of damage. I mean, where I'm at. So
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have you seen Jim Gaffigan? You know who Jim Gaffigan is, right?
Yeah.
The comedian. Have you seen
Yeah.
his bit on Florida? And he goes, you know,
So.
people talk garbage about Florida all the time until winter comes. Then they're like, "Hey, Florida, how you doing?" It's so true. It's so true. Because right now, like during the day, it's like 73 degrees outside. That must be what the temperature in heaven is. This is what I'm guessing.
I tell people all the time. I say, I wish the way it is now. I wish it was just like all this like year round. I mean, I wish it was. This is the weather I look forward to, where it's just like like 70, 72 high, and it's like 65 below or something. Like it's so great.
Right. Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice, and then the electric bill is really low too. So that helps.
Yeah,
that's good times.
Yeah.
I liked visiting Florida so much. Some of my favorite memories are going to go visit my grandparents when they lived there. There's that one, and you probably know this one, James. The place where it's like an alligator park or something, like a state park that's near there, Maca something. But you go there and you can canoe with the alligators. It's like a big pond. It's a big lake. Mayaca State Park. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you can either do the little airboat or you can go. So me and my uncle thought we're going to be men and we're going to go out on this lake in a canoe. And so we're out on this lake, and I don't even think they let you do this anymore, but maybe they do. But we were out there and we're just like, we see, I mean, it's not just a small amount of alligators. I thought, maybe we'll see one or two alligators.
It's
like the entire water is filled with alligators. And so we're just going and we're like, hey, we're like paddling with alligators here. This isn't like there's another alligator. There's another alligator. Well, and my uncle goes, well, they're pretty much all baby alligators. I'm like, there's still a lot of alligators. So then we see a huge, it must have been a 10-foot alligator. 20-foot alligator, according to me. Bathing under, we were like getting kind of next to to a little cove. We saw this alligator right out there in the middle of, like, on the land, sitting there bathing, basking. And then they saw us, and he goes, literally a 20-foot alligator just goes under our canoe. And we're just like,
help.
we're just like, we're not, no. So I think we turned around and we realized that it was fun, but yeah.
We're done.
We're done. You probably did that for, like, when they were baby alligators, we were just fine. Look, it's just a baby alligator. Just baby alligator.
You're like, nah, I'm done.
We were like, let's paddle home. Let's paddle back. Yep, that's about it. That thing went right under our canoe. My uncle's just like, that really could have tipped us. He could have just tipped us. And I'm like, yeah. We're in a canoe.
There was one they shared like recently in the news. I was just like, people were coming across it, and this thing was like jacked. Like it was like just like this. Like you think he was ready. He was searching for somebody. Like, I think this dude was not. He was big.
Yeah,
he was big.
If you ever come to Lakeland, if you ever come to Central Florida, you gotta let me know. I'll take you someplace where I'll show you some monsters. I mean, I'm talking about, mega alligators, man. And sometimes you see these news. If you ever see clips on the news from these monster, I mean, like Godzilla, like alligators crossing walking paths, it's probably from Lakeland. And I mean, they love golf courses for some reason. But when we first moved to Florida in '86, my grandmother, who already lived in Haines City, she told us, she goes, anywhere where there's water, there's alligators. And we're like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Yeah, you're just bragging. So we went to a place here in Lakeland called Saddle Creek Park. We apparently didn't know enough about it to not go there, but they had a little swimming hole. And the swimming hole, it's in the lake. It's like, it's not really a lake. They're all like little tributaries, I don't know what you call them. Okay, so there's this fenced off area that you can swim in. And my dad and I and all my brothers and sisters, we got in the water, and I told my dad, I said, I know that this is designated for swimming, so alligators can't get to you. But what stops the alligator from walking from that over there to this over here?
Right.
Oh no, my dad was like, no, there's no alligators here. So we had gotten out, and after we had been out for a little bit, we saw an alligator pop up where, in the swimming hole where we were at. I'm like, I'm never doing that. Grandma was right. And here's the other thing too. The barrier separating the swimming hole from the rest of the water was just a chain link fence. What me and James can probably attest to this, but what me and every Floridian knows now is that alligators can climb chain link fences.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally and go over, and they'll. Hey, listen, there's plenty of stories of people getting a knock on their door in the morning, and they wonder who's at their door. They look out the peephole and they can't see anybody. They open the door, there's an alligator. There's an alligator at the front door.
That's not even learn. Not even learning.
It's true.
I remember seeing the alligators
making it up. It's true.
thing. I remember seeing the alligators in swimming pools. My grandparents said, so they always had they lived in Sarasota in the country club area, wherever that is. And
everywhere.
Yeah, it seems like it was a really nice area. Yeah, it was pretty much everywhere. So they lived in some place where they had a lake in their backyard, and it was shared by like 6 other properties. But they said that they every year had to pull alligators out of there because it was just like that. As soon as they pulled one out, there was another one that came in. And and my granddad, and he enjoyed this story because he's not a really big poodle guy. And he said, well, the poodle got him. Then he got eaten by he got his own. He got what was coming to him. So apparently there was a little barky poodle, and little barky poodle got a little too close to his alligator friend. And alligators are fast on land. People don't realize that they're fast on land as well. And
to a certain distance.
Very quick, but very short, but he was close enough at barking at the water, and then there was no more poodle. And my granddad thought that was a hoot because he was like, he hated poodles. And so he said, that's right. Poor little dog. But yeah, good. I enjoy good times. I enjoyed my trips down there, though. I just enjoyed being able to, because I think it's a different, like I said, I think it's just a different way of being right next to the beach, especially the Gulf side. There's nothing like the Gulf side. I don't think it's almost like, the beaches there are just totally awesome. And Clearwater has some good beaches. Sarasota has some good Siesta Key. And you just can't, it's just amazing. And I went out there several times for spring break and just absolutely loved it. And also the Floridian girls. Enough said.
Yeah, dude, look. I've lived in Texas before. Texas has beautiful women. And I'm from the Midwest. Midwest has, the kind of woman you want to marry, right? They make some good women up there. But you come to Florida, man, I tell you what, they have some of the finest looking women down here. And I even made a video about this, not about the Florida women, but I made a video about how I overcame shyness. And my whole thing was I was so shy, so shy. But I was getting older, and I live in a place where people go around half naked most of the year.
Right.
And so you got all these Florida women walking around. You have to do something about that.
Right.
You have to get over your shyness if you're going to get anywhere. So it was an impetus. It was the impetus for getting over my shyness. But yeah, man, you're right. Enough said about that, I guess. Before I get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
Listen, my wife probably won't watch this, but I probably ought to, take some kind of precaution.
Now, where's your wife from? Where's your wife from, Greg?
Michigan. She's from Michigan.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, she's from Hesperia, which is supposed to be like a little one light town. I've never been there, but yeah, that's where she's from. it's funny because my mom is from Michigan, and we grew up in. My wife and I grew up in very similar, kind of environments. Not family environment, but just that part of the country. And
Gotcha.
so when I first met her, I knew right away. I mean, like when I first met my wife, I felt like I had just gone home. And it's a weird feeling. I can't really explain that other than she came across to me like someone that I would have known from growing up north, someone from like my hometown. So I got like a kind of vibe from her. And I don't think I would have gotten that from somebody that would have been from down here,
Right.
So
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I appreciate you coming on tonight. This was a good time. It is getting to my witching hour. I'm on call tonight at 9:00, so I always got to get some food and some stuff. That's the part about the IT job that they don't tell you about, is that you're going to be on call a lot more than you think you are. Not that I'm, like there's critical surgery going to be involved, but there is on call where you have to go and, you could be costing your company millions of dollars, which you don't want that. So anyway, James, James, I cut you off earlier because I was too busy writing an email, but what did you make for?
Oh, I totally forgot. I didn't even say. So what I did was I actually, I made like fudge. I did cookies and fudge, and I came across like this recipe or video, I guess, online on like Instagram or something. So I thought it was cool to make. And what it is just like it's called like cookies and milk. So it's like fudge, but like the cookies are inside it, kind of thing. So it's almost like the fudge, it's like fudge dipped in cookies.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's a chef. So just.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's what James does.
I work at Lakewood Ranch Country Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what. So I'm a hospitality major. So in college, that was my degree. It was hotel restaurant management. And my dad said I wasted all my money because he could give me the tips already. Here's your keys, sir. You didn't need a 4-year degree for that, sir. But now I'm in IT, so I've lived up to my potential, I guess. But hospitality was my love. I work for a hospitality company now, and I miss the restaurant side. And he's on the restaurant side, thank goodness, still. And I miss that. I miss the restaurant side because it's so much fun because it's creative. It's creating art for people to eat. I absolutely love the idea of cookies and milk. I love that fudge and cookies already.
That's cool.
Oh my goodness, I'm just fat by looking at that. Granted, I brought a bag of like Halloween candy, but
I was making it. I'm like, I'm not eating any of this really because I'm just gonna give it away from.
It's so good.
I said the bunch. I'm like, I was giving it to people at work. They usually eat whatever. I may make out there, so they can have all this stuff.
So him and
I love sweets, man.
Oh, me too. I love them too much sometimes.
These are really, really sweet. So I'm like, I can do that.
It's like double sweet. It's like double crazy sweet. There's like fudge and cookies in this.
Here's some condensed milk. Here's some powdered sugar. Here's some more.
Here's some more sugar.
A lot. Yeah, chocolate chip, more sugar. White chocolate chip. It's crazy. Like it couldn't.
Holy moly, that sounds good, dude.
Double sweet sounds like a stripper name.
Yeah, double sweet.
Double sweet. Next to the floor, it's double sweet. Next on the whatever they say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's always good to know a chef.
Yeah, that's always good to know, because except for he lives on the other side of the country, so I'm always just envious. But it's probably good enough for me because I would probably be his next door neighbor and be like, "Yeah, let's eat some of those cookies."
When I went to California, my cousin at the time, she lived in like the like San Jacinto. She lived like in the mountains kind of area. So when I visited like a while ago, like I was just staying there because I think my grandmother or my grandmother passed away. So I was there for the service, but I was just staying there because I didn't have a car. So I was kind of staying at the house till I got home from work or whatever. But I'm like, hey, I'm gonna like go in your fridge and like make something, and they thought there was nothing in there like to make. And so I'm raiding their fridge. I'm like seeing what's up, and I made like a dinner for him, like her and her boyfriend at the time. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Like even like the next day, I actually even walked to the store. I found out where a store was, and I walked there. I think it was probably like two miles away. That thing. I mean, I have no idea where I'm. I mean, I have like the phone with GPS, and like, just tell me where a store is to find like cake mix or whatever or something. But yeah, I made the whole thing. They were just really surprised with it. So
I love that. That's cool, man. That's cool.
So James, do you like to cook more or bake more?
It's funny that you say that because somebody asked me that like the other day at work, like, do you either cook or bake? I like a mixture of both. Okay. Just having like diversity and just having just different mix of stuff. It's good to know a little bit about both. I mean, I do enjoy, I think, cooking more as well. There's a little more of a like even with baking, you have to be really like precise with your ingredients. Anything a little off or above or below can mess up anything. So with cooking and stuff, you can kind of balance it out with whatever seasonings or whatever you need to do to make it right. With baking is a little bit different.
Yeah, well, maybe you and I can connect because I keep telling my wife I'm going to learn how to cook and I haven't done it yet. Yeah. So I can give you a few pointers from you.
Yeah,
for sure. I think that, and every time he's like the superior baker, but I'm sure that his like all the sauces and things he makes, because you're more cordon bleu style, right? Make a lot of the traditional sauces.
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, I haven't. Yeah. We do some of the traditional stuff over there. Sometimes we just stick to regular, just basic cooking.
Yeah. I enjoy Americana. I've worked at some restaurants that did Americana. I've worked at Mexican restaurants. I've worked at high-end like table d'hote type places where we did different types of meals. In the NAU, when I was going to school, they had a chef from American Institute, which is like American or national, one of the two, and he was like a head chef and a professor for a culinary school on the East Coast, and it's like the school to go to if you're a chef. And he was amazing, and we had a restaurant for us as future restaurant people, managers, to be able to. We waited tables, we did all the a lot of the restaurant jobs, but the food was absolutely the best I've ever eaten. I mean, he would just the things that we made were absolutely amazing, and it was really fun. I enjoyed being around that group.
Right.
Kind of like, I guess it was almost like a country club feel to it, because it was a small kitchen, same people most of the time that came in. It wasn't probably about 20 tables at the most, maybe not even that.
Right.
Yeah, really small but fun. Always creative. The first time I ever had snails was there, but you put anything on a good sauce, it's still good.
Right.
I've never had that.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's not it wasn't as bad. Again, it was the sauce that made it. It was just kind of like sushi. Like if you were to eat sushi by itself, you'd be like, ew, gross. But sushi with with all the different types of sauces they put on, that's what makes it. The rice and the sauces. Okay. Yeah.
Never had that either.
Even just having like sashimi, that's what I've just learned. That's where I've had. First time I've had like raw fish, so that was even at like fine dining restaurants.
Yeah,
so that's how I got into that. But yeah, I love sushi as well. I'll eat that.
So good. So good. Yeah, I didn't think I would like it. I was always like, raw fish, I'll never eat that. And then like I got some good sushi, and I was like, I think I was in Vegas, believe it or not. It's some weird restaurant in Vegas at 1 a.m. is like after drinks food. And we went down and it was so good. I was like, this sauce is so good. That's the reason why people like sushi. The sauces are amazing. You're like, oh yeah, I definitely get it now. I totally get it. You add a little bit of hot and a little bit of different flavors, and It's so good. So good.
I'd be willing to try it.
You should. You should. And maybe you have to go and hook up with Chef here, and we'll. Especially if you guys live close enough. Once the issues that are going on in the world subside, you guys will have to go out and get some food together.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'd actually enjoy that.
Yeah,
we'll have to connect, James.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Well, it is 7:36. I go on a call in an hour. I will thank you very much, Greg, for coming on, and this was so fun. And I enjoy these talks with some really awesome community members. I just love it. I just absolutely dig it. And I dig your channel a lot. So I was so happy to have you on, Greg. It's just what a blessing to have you on.
Yeah, when you mentioned that we were having you, I don't think I've ever really searched your channel. So, I mean, I was looking at videos, even watched like one of your first videos, I think, where you were talking about how you met Buzz Aldrin. Even I thought that was so cool, saying, because even as a young kid, because I'm into like all like the astronomy type stuff, I'm saying. So I thought that was really cool, like that you met, Buzz Aldrin, and so yeah, I really dug that video.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And in fact, that's one of my favorite stories to tell. And I told that story on when I did the live thing with Faithfully Bearded. They wanted me to tell that story. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that video, and I wish it had more views because it really is a good story. I mean,
I'm like, man, how is there like 1 or 2 comments? And I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
I know, right? And the thing is, he's still relative. He's still. He still talks about, he's still kicking, and space. Everybody's talking about Elon Musk and all that. You think that it would get more views, but YouTube's funny about stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just really strange what gets views and what doesn't. But all you can do is encourage yourself and just keep doing what you're doing, keep hammering away.
So
that's just
that's all you do. Eventually, that rock is going to give way. It's gonna bust open.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I need to start creating more videos. I realize that you have to do, but you do have to create more videos, is what somebody told me. I was on this live stream kick for a while where I was just like, not that I was burnt. I just didn't know where I was going to do, like, how many review videos did I feel like I could do and make them fun and exciting. So I was kind of in a rut, and I made one the other day that was really fun. I had a good time. And then I've made so I've had some fun. I think I still got to keep trying to refine some of that stuff, but as long as I'm having fun, then I think I'll keep doing it. But I do have to, but that is true. You have to keep making videos.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I reviews to me are a dime a dozen, and I get kind of tired of them myself because it can only come up with a descriptive, so many different descriptives, and so many of these companies are making good products.
Right.
So there's only so much to say, and so the creative part comes down to what's the next thing I can do with this? How can I implement this? That's why I talk about different things and integrate beard products at the same time, hoping that the merge of ideas will come together. But who knows? Who knows where anything goes?
That's where I think I've been at for a little bit, because I haven't made a video for a while, like a month, and it's just like, man, it's just like all I do is talk about how the sensor, what it's almost like the repetitive stuff that I'm doing. It's like, man, like I need to like either try and figure out how to do something else or something, because I enjoy doing it. I mean, it's it's awesome, but that's all I'm doing, just describing stuff. I mean, I don't mind that, but it's just like finding out what to talk about is just like kind of gets tiring, or it's just finding something else to do, to talk about.
Agreed.
So
yeah, you don't want to run the well dry.
Right.
Your creative well, you don't want to run it dry. So I can't do just beard stuff. I think that's boring. So but if you combine it with other things like you guys are doing, like you're actually talking to people, you're actually having people on, that's interesting, because the springboard might be beards, but it just goes so many places. It's a door, it's an open door, and I think that's what you got to do. But some people are successful at doing just beard stuff, and more power to them. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't have the interest, in that way. So,
Right.
But not everybody's supposed to. Some people are supposed to, and that's why they will do well. And other people like me, they have to diversify. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it, I guess.
No,
Right.
I
But
agree.
I really like what you guys are doing, and I think you should keep
Thanks.
doing it. And I want to encourage you. Don't pay too much attention to numbers, and because this whole YouTube world is really fickle.
Yeah.
I mean, really fickle. People. I remember George Bruno was saying that. I'm sure you guys have seen him.
Right.
And he said that when he shaved his beard off, he lost 5,000 subscribers overnight.
Wow.
That's how fickle this thing is. So you have to remember, and I guess this is kind of what I would wish to tell everybody that I talk to that does YouTube as a content creator. You have to remember why you're doing what you're doing, and you have to stay true to yourself. You have to keep that in mind, because man, it will really try you, it will really test you, and you have to know. You have to know where home base is at, and just keep going away at it. But yeah,
Right.
Very sage advice.
I guess I kind of went down a rabbit trail with that.
I love that. No, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you got going on the next month, week? What's going on? Were you making what content are you creating? What are you working on? What's your projects for the next week or month?
Well, I always see myself, gravitating away from doing beard videos. But every time I say that, I get more offers. I become an affiliate with somebody else, and so I do have more beard related content I'll be doing. And then I do have a lot of ideas just standing in line waiting to be made into videos. The only reason they're not made yet is because of time. Time is just a factor. And privacy. Privacy is another factor. But I have some really great videos I want to make. And we're building a house. My wife and I are having a house built. And when that happens, I have a feeling this whole thing is going to take on a different dynamic, because I'm going to be set up a little bit better, I think. But yeah, I have some good ideas, really good ideas coming up. And I went through a spate here a couple weeks ago where I was making a video every day, and people who follow me will have seen that. And I wish I could do that on a regular basis, but I want to get to that point where I can make about 5 videos a week, like turn it into like a regular dependable thing.
Right.
So I'm working toward that, but they won't all be beard videos. I'm thinking like maybe 1 out of 5.
Cool. Yeah.
But always with having beard products integrated into it somehow. This is the beard product of the day. This is what I'm using today. Here's the affiliate code. I'll save you some money. And being completely honest in the whole thing, I'm only going to promote products that I really believe in.
Right.
So
yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I got planned.
Right
as
on.
far as content creating goes.
That's cool. Good times. Good. What do you got going on, James?
I'm actually trying to even just organize what I have. That way, I think if I organize what I have instead of having just everything mixed everywhere, I kind of know where I'm going to go with what I'm going to do next. Right now, I just have like so much stuff, so it actually just feels like a clutter. You know what I'm saying? So if I have stuff more organized, more figured out, more stuff in line, I think I can kind of. I've been looking at like shelving and stuff like that, so I can kind of better position my products and like do this one, do this, and do this. You know what I'm saying? Kind of just go down the line of what I want to do next, and kind of just, having it just all covered out what to do. If I have it more organized and set up right, I think I can. It'd be more, consistent with stuff.
Very cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that.
I got a video dropping probably tomorrow. Just an unboxing. I have too much stuff, so Caden, my son, and me do our videos together, and he likes the unboxing videos. So we just do I'll do those with him because he just likes to do them. He says this is like Christmas. So,
That's
so we do those together, and then I'm starting to work on new reviews that have more fun, like heavy metal. throw in some guitar playing into it and see what people think. So we'll have some fun doing that. I was going to do this. So I had this whole AC/DC montage thing that I was going to go do. So I have me starting and playing, and then somebody said, you could probably get in trouble for that because it is really kind of somebody else's music. I'm like, oh, well, I'll try some other riffs or something. So we'll see. It should be fun. You'll see it next week probably because I have to come up with it this weekend. But anybody nobody's here now. So I guess it's just us. And thank you very much, Greg, for coming on in. I totally appreciate it. This was a great discussion. And I'm sorry that more people hopefully people in the future will be able to see this. But this was a great discussion. We'll have to have you come on again.
Yeah, it was awesome meeting you.
Well, yeah, certainly. Certainly, I'll be happy to, and more people will probably watch them playback. It just takes time.
They do, yeah. I never get concerned about it because I know that I had a great guest on. Me and James, we had a really great guest on, and other people will. I mean, this was an awesome discussion. These are the type of discussions that I think inspire other people, and so I hope that people watching this will be, wow, that was really a good talk.
Right.
It wasn't just about beard products. It was about being different. Yeah, it was a good talk.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we will talk to you guys soon. And again, we'll see you soon, Greg. And it's, great times with James here. We'll have to, you guys will have to hook up and get some dinner and take some pictures. And once all this stuff kind of dwindles down, hopefully here in a bit.
Absolutely.
Hopefully here in a bit.
I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody, thanks for coming on in. If I can actually